Can you see the screen, students?
Yes.
Okay. Can see the PPT, right?
Yes, sir.
So there is an echo.
I am correcting it. Just give me a second. Okay, students. You are not getting the echo now, right?
No, sir, but the screen is not shared.
I'll share again. Share again. Okay. So next chapter is transport layer, and so till now, like whatever you have learned in the application layer. Before that, we started with the uh, uh, introduction to computer networks, the first chapter. So, and application layer, in the first chapter, you have not learned much about the protocols, but in the second chapter, that is in the application layer, you have learned uh, like many protocols. So, do you remember the protocols which you have learned?
So HTTP, TCP, IMAP, POP3, SMDP, DNS.
Okay. So almost 5-6 protocols you have learned. Similarly, in transport layer, you will be learning around two major protocols. One is TCP, the other one is UDP. But when you start learning about TCP, we will be learning about the protocols like selective repeat, then pipelining protocols, then reliable data RDT protocols. So almost you'll be studying about 10 different types of protocols, um, in which TCP and UDP are the major protocols. Okay, so let us see what other things we are going to learn here. Our goals are to understand the principles behind transport layer services like multiplexing, demultiplexing, reliable data transfer, flow control, congestion control, like difference between them. Okay, then learn about internet transport layer protocols like UDP, TCP. Is that clear? Under TCP, you will be learning multiple protocols like evolution of TCP, how TCP evolved. Okay, So first thing what you are going to study under this chapter is 3.1, that is transport layer services. Let us look into the services of the transport layer. It provides a logical communication between application processes running on different hosts. Is that clear, students? It's a connection, a logical connection between the application processes running on different hosts. Is that clear? So for example, application running in my system, the same application might be running in another system which is sitting in the other part of the city. So connection between these two applications is transport layer service. Is that clear? Not the connection between two end devices. Can you guess which layer is responsible for connecting between two end devices? Can you guess, students?
Physical layer, sir.
No. Physical layer, it is the connections. Forget about that. If, with respect to the
Data
layer,
link.
network layer is responsible for end-to-end communication. Is that clear? So here you can say transport layer is logical communication between the processes running in different hosts. And for the network layer, you can say logical communication between the hosts running in the different network. Is that clear? So we will get to know the difference in the upcoming slides. So transport protocol run in end systems. So sending side breaks the application messages into segments. Is that clear? So what is the PDU of transport layer called as segments? What is the PDU of application layer, students?
Packet, sir.
Are you sure? PDU of application layer. I have taught you what is PDU and what do you call the PDU of each layer. Exactly, a packet. In general, we will call every data what you are sending as packet. But in specific, what is the PDU of application layer is called as?
Data.
Anyone? Application layer PDU is called as messages. Transport layer PDU is called as segments. Network layer PDU is called as datagrams. And data link layer PDU is called as frames. Is that clear? Please keep this in mind. But in general, if you don't want to specify any layer PDU, you can generally call it as packets. Is that clear? So you can see the second point, the first point uh, uh, under the second bullet. Sending side breaks application messages into segments. Why it is termed as segments? Because the transport layer PDU is called as segment. Is that clear? And passes to the network layer. What happens in the receiver side? Reassembles those segments into messages. Why it is reassembling that into messages? Because the PDU of application layer is called as messages. Whenever transport layer receives some segments, it has to send it to application layer. In the application layer, PDU is called as messages. Is that clear, students? So receiving side reassembles segments into messages, passes to the application layer. More than one transport protocol available to applications. They are TCP and UDP. Is that clear, students? Have any questions regarding this? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. Transport layer versus network layer. So I think I had told you this example before. Network layer, logical communication between hosts. Transport layer, logical communication between processes. Very important point to be noted. Is that clear? Difference between transport layer and network layer. Network layer is logical communication between hosts. See, somebody told physical layer. So physical layer is physical connection between two hosts. Is that clear? What you said is right. But it is physical connection between two end devices is taken care by physical layer. But here it is logical connection. Is that clear? Network layer gives the logical communication between hosts. whereas transport layer gives the logical communication between processes. Is that clear? So there is an example here, a household analogy. 12 kids in some house sending letter to other 12 kids in another house. So houses are termed as hosts, and the kids which are there in that house are called as processes. So hosts, what you can consider is there are two hosts. In each host there are 12 processes running. Is that clear? So application messages are letters in envelopes. Transport, what is transport protocol? So basically somebody has to be there to collect all these letters from each and every kid and give it to a postman. Is that clear? So the collecting of these letters from the kids and giving it to the postman who is outside the house. Is that clear? That is the work of transport layer. Multiplexing. It multiplexes all the 12 kids letters together and gives it to the postman. Postman will carry, sorry, okay, postman will carry that to the next host, that is the destination host, and there again there will be a person who collects that post 12 letters from the postman and distributes it to the proper application, that is proper kid in that home. Is that clear? That is the analogy between transport layer and network layer. So network layer is basically from host to host. Application layer, sorry, transport layer is basically from process to process. Is that clear, students? So that's about the difference between transport layer and network layer. Yes, this one. So Internet Transport Layer protocols, reliable in-order delivery. So what is the difference between TCP and UDP? Does anybody know what is the difference between TCP and UDP?
Reliability.
Reliability. What do you mean by reliability? And which protocol is reliable, TCP or UDP?
TCP is reliable, sir, and it means it ensures if there is no packet loss.
Okay, how it ensures that? Have any idea? Is that the only difference between TCP and UDP?
No, sir.
Stateless HTTP, TCP, that also we can tell, no, sir?
No. No. Stateless and stateful comes only with respect to application layer protocols.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let me give you a brief difference between TCP and UDP. See, TCP is called as reliable protocol. Why? Because before sending the packet from one host to another host, what you will do if you are using TCP, the sending host will send a request first to the receiving host, asking whether the receiver is ready to receive and whether the receiver is ready to have a connection between source and destination. Is that clear? Basically, it is called as three-way handshake phase. In the three-way handshake phase, what happens? Sender sends a hi message. For that, receiver also sends a hi message if the receiver is ready. And for that, sender again sends an acknowledgement saying that okay, we are connected now, like that. Is that clear? So basically, as humans communicate, like we generally, what we do if we meet some of our friends or any new people, what we do, we will just greet first. Is that clear? We will check whether they are ready to communicate with us or not. Okay, we will greet, then only we will start our actual communication. Similarly, TCP works. Is that clear? And why it is called reliable? Now we know that it establishes a connection between source and destination. But why it is termed as reliable? You can see, students, when a TCP protocol sends a packet, and if the packet is not received by the receiver, what happens? Generally, when a packet is sent, it goes through the communication channel and it reaches the receiver end. When the receiver receives it, receiver sends an acknowledgement to the sender saying that I have received a packet number with so and so sequence number, send me the next packet. Like that, the receiver will send a acknowledgement to the sender. Is that clear? And until and unless TCP receives the acknowledgement, it will not send the next packet. This is a general scenario I'm telling you. Okay, there are many upgradations on this. We will look into that later. Now, what you have to understand is TCP will send a packet, and until and unless it receives an acknowledgement for that packet, it will not deliver the next packet. Is that clear? So in that way, you will get to know whether the packet is received by the destination or not. So you can ask a question. TCP sends a packet, and if the packet is lost in the network, receiver doesn't receives it. So how will receiver get to know that packet is lost, or how will sender get to know that the packet is lost in between the network, in between these two hosts? So there will be a timer. TCP, when sending its packet, it will switch on its timer, and in the connection establishment phase, they will come to a conclusion that within this time, acknowledgement has to be received by the sender. Is that clear? So that we call it as RTT, round trip time. Round trip time is what? You send a packet to the destination, destination will send an acknowledgement, and if that reaches to you, it is a round trip. One way you are going and you are coming back. Is that clear? There will be a specific round trip time. The timer will be running until the round trip time, and within that round trip time, if the packet acknowledgement packet is not received by the sender, sender will understand that receiver has not received the packet and the packet has been dropped in between the network. So what will sender do? Sender will retransmit that packet. Is that clear? So basically this process is called as reliable, or a whole process is called as reliable, because you will get to know whether the receiver has received your information or not. If the receiver has not received your information, you can retransmit the packet because you will have the information about it. Is that clear, students? So that's the reason why TCP is called as reliable communication. And you can see reliable in order delivery. What do you mean by in order delivery, students?
Stream of packets being sent in an order, proper order.
Proper order. Okay. Okay. When it,
Yes,
if
also
it has to
sir,
be a packet
like
in stream of packets in an order, what it has to do, what it has to maintain in each packet?
Data of the whole message or something.
Okay. Consider there are two end devices, system A and system B. There are two routes from A to B. Is that clear? Packets can reach from A to B in two different routes. Okay. So route 1, you are sending 10 packets. Out of 10 packets, 5 packets goes through route 1 and other 5 packets goes through route 2. Is that clear, students? This is called as load balancing in the network. Is that clear? Load balancing in the network. If you have two routes, why do you use only one route and make that route more, give more load to that route? Don't do that. Just send 5 packets in one route, another 5 packets in other route. We are balancing the load there. Is that clear? So generally that is how it works. Now, when load balancing happens, there might be fifth packet which reaches first than the fourth packet. There are high chances. Is that clear? In that case, how does receiver will get to know that, okay, this is the fifth packet? Until and unless I receive 1, 2, 3, 4 packets, I should not deliver this fifth packet to the application layer. Is that clear? Receiver will understand that. How receiver can understand that? Using the sequence number. Every packet will have a sequence number. If a receiver receives the sequence number with 5 without 4, receiver will get to know that, oh, there is a packet called 4, it is still on the way, it has to come. Only then I can send this fifth packet to the application layer. Is that clear? So every packet what you send and every packet every acknowledgement what you receive from in TCP will have sequence number and acknowledgement number also. Is that clear? So using that, in order delivery can be maintained. Next thing, what do you mean by congestion control? Any clue?
traffic control maybe sir.
Where
Uh,
does congestion occurs to?
where there is a lot of data and other networks are also trying to use the same path.
Whenever the buffer gets full and the packets get dropped, there the
Where
congestion
does,
occurs.
which buffer gets full?
Sir, in the router, there is a buffer which
Yes.
stores all the packets and which mainly works on store and forward. So if output link is not free and the input link exceeds that output link capacity, so there can be packet loss.
You are right. Basically, this congestion happens in the router interfaces. Is that clear? When the router input link is receiving huge amount of data or huge amount of packets, and the router's output link is processing that packet slowly. In that case, what happens? More number of packets getting into the router, but very less number of packets going out of the router. The buffer space in the input interface might run out of space, and then the packets might drop. So that area, you call it as congestion. Congestion generally happens in the routers interfaces. So when a system is sending huge amount of data continuously, what happens? Routers will actually inform. If you are using TCP has a mechanism to get the information from the router whether there is any congestion in the network or not. Is that clear? We will have a detailed study about this congestion control later, but you should know, as of now, you should know this. Congestion control means congestion generally happens in the routers, and in TCP there is a mechanism that routers will send information to the TCP saying that there is congestion in my router, just stop sending your packet or slow down sending your packets. Is that clear? So what do you mean by flow control? Are they same? Congestion control and flow control, are they same, students? Any guess?
No,
Maybe the sending, the control on how many, the rate of sending package from the source, depending on the buffer and router path it's using.
That is congestion control. I told you, right? In the intermediate routers, there is a mechanism. Routers will inform the sender saying about the network congestion scenarios. Okay. So flow control is, yeah,
They maintain the order, sir. Flow control.
that
In
is
order.
faster delivery, no?
So
What?
although both of them has to work together, but then also congestion has to keep in mind that all the packets which are lost has to be sent again. But flow control tells that there should be a synchronize between the speed of the two end.
You are kind of dancing around the actual answer. Okay, let me tell you. Flow control means, see, congestion control, we know that's the scenario about the intermediate routers. Flow control will give the information to the sender that the receiver buffer, that is the receiver end, the other host, the receiver buffer is full. You have to slow down your transmission. Is that clear? You will get the information for every packet what is sent in the acknowledgement itself. You will get an information. Okay, that receiver is not ready to receive you might have a initial connection establishment, but even after the connection establishment excuse me, even after the connection establishment and even after transmitting many packets, there might be scenario where receiver is very much busy with other systems receiving the data. In that case, receiver will inform you to slow down the transmission, even though there is no congestion at all in the intermediate network. Still, receiver might be busy. Is that clear? So that is basically flow control mechanism. In TCP, you have that mechanism of controlling the flow of packets to the destination. Is that clear? Then connection setup, which I have already told you. So all these are part of TCP. Is that clear? Let us see about UDP. So UDP is unreliable. That means UDP doesn't have connection setup phase. Is that clear, students? There is no connection setup phase in UDP. UDP doesn't provide congestion control mechanism. UDP doesn't provide flow control mechanism. Is that clear? As and when there are packets to send, UDP will start sending it directly. UDP will not get to know whether the receiver is ready to receive it or not. Is that clear, students? So basically it is called as best effort service. UDP provides unordered, you can see it is unordered, unreliable delivery. Is that clear? So it tries for the best effort. Best effort in the sense it may not guarantee you a reliable delivery, but it definitely tries for the best effort. You will understand that clearly when we discuss about UDP again. So what are the services that are not available in the transport layer? So delay guarantees, that means receiver will not get to know what might be the actual delay. Okay, bandwidth guarantees, again all these comes in the physical layer. Physical layer takes care of bandwidth guarantees. Delay guarantees will be generally taken by network layer. So all these are the services which are not provided by transport layer. Is that clear, students? So did you get an idea about the difference between TCP and UDP, which are the main protocols of transport layer, students? Yes, any questions regarding this? Shall we go to the next topic?
So load balancing occurs in TCP, no, sir. In both of them, it occurs.
Load balancing is not part of transport layer. Okay, load balancing is basically the part of network layer. So it occurs for both TCP or UDP, whichever you use.
Okay, sir. That comes next, no, sir. Like while sending messages, it goes from application to physical, and then while receiving, it changes the order.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Just for you to understand about in order delivery, I have told that. Okay. So, but that is not part of transport layer. Okay, let's go to the next one. Multiplexing and demultiplexing. So what do you mean by multiplexing and demultiplexing, students? Can anyone tell me what is multiplexing and what is demultiplexing?
Directing the messages or services. In the DSL also there is an access multiplexer address or DSL AM. Maybe that's how. While sending it is multiplexing and while receiving it is demultiplexing. Something like that.
There is only one connection from your home network which is going to the internet service provider, right? Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Now, in your browser, you might be working with multiple applications. Okay, you will be working with different applications. The different applications data should not combine together, right? It should be separate, but it has to go through a single channel, output channel, which is going out of your system, right? So there what happens, transport layer service, which is multiplexing, comes into picture. Okay, it multiplexes your data and it takes all those data in a single link. Is that clear? Similarly, when multiple applications receiving data from other end to you, your system should be in a position to demultiplex it and give it to the proper application. Is that clear? Demultiplex the different information or packets and give it to the proper application. So that is multiplexing and demultiplexing. Is that clear, students? So that is the service provided by transport layer. So let us see in depth. Multiplexing and demultiplexing. So you can see in the middle layer structure. So there are P1 and P2 applications which are multiplexed together and comes out of your system, and then the P2 goes to P4 and P1 goes to P3. Is that clear? Let us see in detail about this. You can see here multiplexing at sender, handle data from multiple sockets and transport header. later used for demultiplexing. Where does sockets located, students? I think that is informed to you. Where are sockets located?
Between application and transport layer for the
Application.
IP port combination.
Yes, the sockets are combination of IP and port. Is that clear? It is located in between the application and transport layer. Is that clear? So sockets will give a identification, unique identification for each and every application data, because IP address for all the processes which are running in one system will be same, but the socket, the port number will differ, and hence the socket number also will differ. Is that clear? So demultiplexing at the receiver, use header info to deliver received segments to correct socket. Okay. How demultiplexing works?
Sir, in the previous slide, there is this for every server, there is multiplexing and demultiplexing happening now, sir. So if for a transmission, we need to, sir.
It's not about the server. It can be any device.
So it will in a network transmission, will it happen some many times if there are end routers in between, multiplexing and demultiplexing?
Can you repeat your question?
So sir, let's say I'm having a connection with some other device. So and there are n routers in between. So will it happen n times, the multiplexing and demultiplexing with every server?
Multiplexing and demultiplexing happens only at the end devices,
Okay.
not in the intermediate routers. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen, students?
Yes,
It's
sir.
not in presentation slideshow mode, sir. But we can see.
How demultiplexing works? So host receives IP datagrams. Each datagram has source IP address, destination IP address. Each datagram carries one transport layer segment. Each segment has source, destination, port number. Okay. Host uses IP address and port number to direct segment to appropriate socket. That's what I told you. Combination of IP address and port number will help to deliver the packet into right socket. So we'll stop here for today. We will continue in the next class. Is that clear, students? Hope the topics which is covered today is clear to you.
Sir? Am I audible, sir?
It's audible, tell me.
Sir, datagrams are PDUs of network layer, no, sir. Here we are dealing with while receiving it comes, sir.
While receiving, datagram comes to network layer. From network layer, datagram comes to transport layer, which is termed as segments here. And when you received a segment, you are going to deliver it to the above layer, that is application layer, which has to be messages.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Understood, sir.
Okay. And students, this week you will have a theory quiz for first and second chapter. Okay. So and tomorrow you have a lab short test. Lab short test is only for the packet tracer activity. Is that clear? And quiz, I will let you know. Shall we have it on Thursday sometime? Is it okay?
Yes.
It will be for 15 minutes.
Yes, sir.
You people can decide and let us know the time, which time you want.
Sir, a
Tuesday we don't have
portion.
class, no, sir.
Portion for the quiz, we will keep first chapter, complete first chapter.
Sir, computer system engineering students have this quiz on Thursday, sir.
Okay, so shall we have it on Wednesday, day after tomorrow?
Okay, sir.
So Wednesday in the class hours itself, shall we have students quiz?
Sir, is it possible to keep on Friday? Like on Wednesday, we have NLP quiz also.
Okay, Friday you don't have any other quiz?
No, sir, as of now, we don't have anything on Friday.
Okay, then please fix this computer network quiz for Friday. And Friday you people decide and let me know the time. Portion will be complete first chapter, introduction to computer networks.
Okay, sir. Sir, for tomorrow's exam, like how many minutes will it be for the lab exam and like the pattern?
We will give you 20 minutes time. We will give you question to create a scenario. You have now IP address is taught to you already. We will give you a scenario, and based on the scenario, you have to design in packet tracer. Design the network, and the network should work from one system to other system. If you send a packet, it should reach successfully.
Sir, I'm sorry that I gave misinformation, and this Thursday's quiz is postponed for us, sir. Yesterday it was postponed.
Okay. So any day we can have, Thursday or Friday.
Yes, sir.
So what do you say, students? When shall we have?
Thursday, sir.
Thursday? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thursday, we'll fix it on Thursday. Let me know the time. Okay. Not Friday. It will be on Thursday.
Sir, are we to revise networking commands also for tomorrow, sir?
No, not required. Only packet tracer activity. I will give you questions only on packet tracer.
Is it just like sharing the screen, or there will be some normal quiz like something form also, sir?
Not quiz. You have to do it. It's a test. We will let you know how to how you can show us the result.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.